What's up everyone, welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, crazy people, and everything in between. So as usual, make sure to subscribe for more Reddit content and let's get into today's stories. Owner refused to let me do jury duty. This was back in the 80s, my first job working as a maintenance man at a local hotel. I'd been working there part-time since I was 16, and when I turned 18 I got a notice to attend jury duty. I picked a week and I let my boss know. The owner of the hotel found out. He was always a completely unreasonable jerk to all the employees, and sees me in the hallway and tells me that I need to do whatever it takes to get out of jury duty, because he needs me at the hotel that week for a large dog show, clogged drains, etc. And if I'm not at work, I'm fired. When I get to jury duty day 1, I get selected to a week-long trial, and the judge asks jurors if there's any reason we cannot serve on the jury. They go around. When they get to me, I am nervous, never been in court before and too scared to lie. I tell the judge that the owner of the business I work at will fire me if I'm not back today, and said that I needed to do everything I can to get out of jury duty or I'm fired. Other than that, I'm fine serving. The judge looks pissed. The judge has me approach the bench, asks for the name of the owner, location, etc. Then he hands the court officer a paper and says something to the officer. The judge still looks pissed. I'm told to return to the jury box. About an hour later, still selecting a jury, the officer returns with the owner, visibly shaken, in handcuffs, and walk to the front of the judge's bench. The owner is standing in front of the judge. The judge asks him questions which he apologetically tries to worm out of. Then the judge, looking even more pissed, instructs him that I will be here for jury duty. I will serve as long as I need to, and he should not do anything to retaliate against me, and that the judge is filing charges and will be instructing the clerk to check with me regularly, and if for any reason I am fired or face any disciplinary action at work, he will hold the owner in contempt, violation of a court order, etc. A bunch of legal stuff. And he will spend time behind bars thinking about how important jury duty is. Then the judge makes him apologize to me in court. I made it onto the jury and I served the week. I reported back to work the following week. I expected some blowback, but I never got fired, none of my shifts were changed, and I got paid for my time in jury. I didn't ask why I got paid. The clerk did check back a few times, and I was told to call the judge's clerk direct phone number if anything happened. It was awesome. I was pretty much bulletproof, and worked until I saved enough to go back to school. Girlfriend wants my social security number so she can run a background check on me. I, 27 male, have been in a relationship with my girlfriend, 31, for almost a year now. This evening she sat me down and said she needs to have a serious conversation with me, and she asked for my social security number. I said absolutely not, why would you need that? And she told me about her ex-boyfriend that was basically living a double life. He had a bunch of criminal charges in his past that he'd never told her about, and eventually exposed her to some sketchy and dangerous behavior before she broke things off after he cheated. I said, okay, thank you for telling me that, but what does that have to do with my social security number? She said ever since then, she's had her friend that works for the federal government run background checks on people to make sure they're safe. And because our relationship is progressing, she needs to know I'm a safe partner for her. So she wants my social security number to check my criminal history. Now for the record, I don't even have a parking ticket. I'm a nerd and a gym rat. All I do is work, go to school, play Dungeons & Dragons, come home, watch anime, rinse and repeat. So I don't care about a background check. She won't find anything. But I'm not giving out my social security number. I don't feel comfortable enough providing that to her friend. When I said that, she got upset and said I don't understand what women go through and it's about safety. And I admitted she's right. I have no idea what women go through. But that doesn't mean I'm giving my social security number out to a complete stranger. She says he isn't a stranger, he's one of her best friends, and married to a close friend of hers. And I said, honey, that's great, but I don't know him. I don't trust him because I don't know him. That's my information you're asking for. You can trust him with your personal information if you want, but no one I don't know is getting my social security number or critical details. It's just not happening. And she said that our relationship isn't going to be able to progress unless I give him my SSN, because she needs to know that she's safe, and she's offended that I don't trust her taste in friends. I got up and left at that point and told her I respect her concerns, but her past trauma doesn't give her the right to try and strong-arm me into giving out sensitive information to someone I don't know just because he works for the federal government and has access to a database. I used to work for the federal government, so I can say from experience, not everyone working there is some wonderful person. I am not assuming he's a monster or anything, but just working for the feds doesn't prove anything to me. She called me insensitive and hasn't spoken to me since. Personally, I feel like she was gaslighting me into giving her what she wants, but I'm not sure. Okay, this is extremely fishy. The first thing I do wonder is how long has OP been with this person, and how much does he know her? And the top comment on this post lays it out pretty well. They said, "I'm a federal employee who does have access to some systems like that in order to locate people, and it is 100% against the law to use them for personal reasons. In fact, we have to try all other reasonable ways to find someone before using these systems. There is something sketchy there. Also, you don't need a social security number to do a background check. A name and address or birthday are enough." So it is good that OP was wise enough to not just go ahead and give it to her. So the way I see it is it could be one of two things here. Either OP's girlfriend's friend is the one fooling OP's girlfriend to try to collect social security numbers for whatever nefarious reasons, or it's OP's girlfriend that's up to no good. Either way, this really is just not right and is honestly a huge red flag in general. And aside from that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that in most states in the US, criminal history repositories are a public record anyway, assuming that this is in the US. Granted, it's probably not as extensive as the kind of criminal background check that a government employee could run, but it's probably good enough for someone that just wants to find out if their partner is a convicted felon or something. So yeah, huge red flag, OP. I'd be careful if I were you. Maybe if your dog didn't wander the neighborhood, he wouldn't get hurt. Thanks for calling. This is a tale from my childhood. It is a success story from many years ago. We all know the classic tale of the off-leash dog terrorizing the neighborhood. Well, this particular dog's name was Sunny, and he was a Labrador that was simply let loose into the neighborhood most mornings before the owners went to work. This was absolutely not acceptable to most of the neighborhood, and would not have been even if he had been the sweetest dog to ever exist. Unfortunately for us, his disposition was anything but sunny. He was a working line Labrador that had nothing to do, was given zero training, and developed a terrible aggression and prey drive problem. Bikes and children, objects that moved fast with small biteable limbs and handles were his personal favorite. The neighborhood followed all legal and social rules to try and get the owners to get Sunny under control. Nothing worked. He started growing his territory. What started off as just avoiding that street on my bike became me not being allowed to ride around anymore. He would roam across acres and acres of the semi-rural neighborhood, looking for something to chase and bite. People with small dogs started carrying walking sticks to hit Sunny with. Every parent signed a petition for the HOA. Animal control didn't really want to deal with it because they had bigger fish to fry at the time. Long story, involves raccoons. Gotta love small towns. And everyone was just about at their final limit. The owners never listened. They said he was a Labrador, so he couldn't possibly be doing that much damage. They brushed off complaints by claiming he was just playing, saying people didn't like dogs, the whole song and dance. Well, one day, Sunny made a decision that changed the trajectory of his life. He decided to wander into our yard while I was playing. Now that it's relevant to the story, I should tell you that my father was buddies with a German Shepherd breeder who only did working line dogs. Her dogs did airport stuff, agility, personal defense, all the things German Shepherds absolutely live for. Whenever she had a litter, she was very particular about matching puppies with their owners/jobs. If she told the police department they were getting a puppy, then she picked the puppy or they could go somewhere else. So when she had a puppy whose personality was more suited to being a family dog, she called my dad. Jessie, that dog, would live to be 14 years old and has a shrine at my childhood home. At the time of this story, Jessie was about 3 years old and absolutely massive for a female German Shepherd. People thought she was mixed because she was a plush, the fluffy kind, or they thought she was a boy. Now Sunny was a full-grown lab, but Jessie had height, weight, and speed on him. I was playing in the yard and luckily I was wearing my barn boots, because suddenly my leg was yoinked out from underneath me and I was being dragged very violently towards the road by Sunny. I, being a sane child that wanted to live, immediately began screaming bloody murder and kicking at him. There was a streak of fur and teeth, a very loud thump, and the pressure on my ankle stopped. I remember being frozen on the driveway, unable to do anything but watch as our sweet, loving, gentle family dog whipped that mongrel around like a rag doll. Sonny, who had never picked on anyone his own size, was wailing and howling as Jessie took bite after bite out of him. She finally dragged him, literally dragged him, down our long driveway before chasing him all the way up our street. Once he was out of sight, she happily trotted up to my parents, who had run outside after hearing all the noise. Other than her accidentally nicking her own tongue, Jessie was absolutely untouched, thanks to her super plush fur and the much weaker Labrador bite. When we told her breeder later, she cackled hysterically on the phone. Jessie's sire had won one of those personal defense competitions that same week. The next day, the owners of Sonny are calling everyone, and I mean everyone, to find out what happened to their precious baby. We had just gotten caller ID, and I remember feeling so nervous and scared when their names came up. My father answered the phone cheerfully and sympathetically listened to their woes over the outrageous vet bill. They simply wanted to know if anyone knew anything, because otherwise it was going to be even more money. You remember how I said it was rural? Well, because they didn't know what sort of wild animals attacked Sonny, they were going to have to pay extra for all kinds of vaccinations and tests. My father responded, "Well, maybe if your dog wasn't wandering the neighborhood, he wouldn't get hurt. Thanks for calling." Click. Funny enough, Sonny had a lovely electric fence set up for him within the next month, and a heavy-duty chain link fence was installed later. The neighbors had the decency to look embarrassed whenever we ran into them, and the foresight to never own another dog again. We were able to wander the neighborhood peacefully once more, although my parents insisted on me taking an escort, Jessie on a leash, for a very long time. Oh, and she got a steak every Friday for as long as she lived. And that's going to be it for today, friends. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. And as always, if you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more Reddit shenanigans. So take care, and I'll see you next time.